Welcome again. I don't know if anybody has ever welcomed you so much as we have today. My name is Sofia, and I work for IKFF here in Sweden, or WILP, Sweden, as we are called internationally and in English. And I am so proud and happy to be up here with our colleagues, our star women's rights activists, Joy from Nigeria, Sylvie from Cameroon, and Annie from the DR Kongo. Give them a big applause. I know that it's not very usual to spend a party talking about weapons and war. I think that there are a few people who would. We are amongst them. But we're going to do it a little bit because we have such important messages to bring forward from these amazing women. But we promise that we're also going to end on a positive note and speak about the successes that you have and all the possibilities that you see in front of you as you work in your countries and as we work in our country as well. So just to give a short background, WILP here in Sweden collaborates with WILP Nigeria and Cameroon and DR Congo and have been for quite a few years now, and it's extremely rewarding for us in Sweden as well, because basically we use the analysis that these women bring forward when we speak to politicians in Sweden. They say, look, the women are saying this, you need to act like this. So it's extremely important for us to have this collaboration, and I think it's also very characteristic of WILP that we work as a network and we work together. But I think I'm just going to start with letting you introduce a little bit about what you do in your different settings and what you see are the big challenges today. And then after we're going to move forward and speak about all the amazing work that you have done, all the successes you have had, and what you see for the future. Joy, do you want to start?
Okay. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I bring greetings from beautiful Nigeria in Africa to you all. Thank you very much for having us here, and I also want to use the opportunity to thank WILP Sweden for this privilege, because it is a privilege for us to be able to share our experiences and also to network and engage with all of you. So once more, thank you very much for having us. In Nigeria, we actually started as a section, as a group in 2008. That was when we joined this global movement of sisterhood. And in 2011, we became a full section. So we are working actually in 3 thematic areas. We're working on disarmament. We're working on UNSCR 1325, which is United Nations Security Resolution 1325. Basically, it talks about women's participation in peace processes and women not just only as vulnerable victims, but as valuable change agents and peace builders in the community and all around. And what we have done in Nigeria is, within the last 7 to 8 years, we have tried to popularize 1325. We have actually facilitated the translation into 4 other indigenous languages in Nigeria. We've used it at the community level to give very concrete meaning to what this resolution is all about. Because when we have resolutions, we have conventions, we have all kinds of treaties. Back home, most times we don't know how to engage with it. We don't even understand how it impacts on our lives. So what WILP Nigeria has been doing is, from very, very small concrete things, as creating space and facilitating space for women to come together in the community, to discuss the various challenges they have in the community, to expand the spaces for women to participate in decision-making processes, even from the family, to the community, and even to the nation at large. We have also enabled women to participate in political forums as well, expanding the spaces for women not just to participate as voters, but also to aspire to become more, as aspirants, as candidates, and as women decision leaders in the community. And this is all what peace building is all about. It involves non-violent communication, preaching, and also practicing peace building at different levels. We've refused to be defined by the challenges we see in our communities. We've refused to be defined by the social constructions of gender. We've refused to be defined by the insecurity from even the northeastern part of Nigeria, where we are currently undergoing violent conflicts, to even the south part of Nigeria, where we see women at community levels grappling with various challenges, from poverty to lack of access to healthcare, to lack of access to judicial processes, to even the nation, where we've seen women come together and say during this last 2015 elections that we are women, and women hold peace in their hands, and our women are nation builders and peace builders, defying all odds to work together. And this is what we have been doing across the 36 states in Nigeria, the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And we've also been able to come to such international forums like this to share our experiences, to also learn from your own experiences, and we go back home and adapt it. Regionally, we cooperate with our sisters in DRC and Cameroon to engage women actively, and not just women, because when we talk about peace building, it's not just women. We're talking about gender equality. We're talking about redefining and deconstructing the gender relations in our various communities, and deconstructing also what violent masculinity is all about. In disarmament, we try to link how the arms that is being sold from countries that export arms like Sweden to countries that are in conflict like Nigeria, to show how all this relates to back home in our country, to show that we are all interconnected, we are all independent, that whatever happens in Sweden invariably affects us back home in Nigeria. Whatever actions you take also affects us back home in Nigeria. And to let us, every one of us, know that we all have a responsibility towards peace building, be it in your little space in your family, to whatever position you hold in the society. We are all connected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joy. Sylvie, I know that when you've been here in Sweden now for a week, you've met a lot of people, you've had a very busy schedule, and you've met people on the political level and people who work on peace and security here in Sweden. And I know that there are quite a few people who have been surprised or didn't know about what the situation looks like right now in your country, Cameroon. Do you want to let people know here a little bit more as well?
Yeah, of course. Good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
I'm very privileged to be here today to share the experiences of African sisters, of African women from the community to the Swedish people. I can say that maybe I'm the most privileged today because I'm the daughter of WILF Sweden.
Oh.
We are the newest section, and our section was supported by WILF DRC and WILF Sweden. So I'm really Swedish today, and I'm very grateful. I think this support that we receive from sisters' organization is what we are looking for. Building coalition, building partnership, coming across border to work for peace. WILF Sweden and other sisters' organizations were able to enable us in Cameroon start a change of mindset. Why am I talking of change of mindset? Is because our country, Cameroon, is a country which is situated in Central Africa. And it is a country that has long been considered as a very peaceful country, as a very stable country. And it made us to sleep a bit, and it made the international community to also sleep and not think that it's important to invest in peace building in Cameroon. So we kept on challenging the mindset, saying that the women peace and security work is not about conflict resolution, it's about conflict prevention. And we kept on insisting that it's better to take the umbrella of peace before rain starts to fall. But we're not really followed and listened, because many people in our countries, as well as many founders, thought that the fact that there is no war means that there is peace. But lack of war does not mean that there is peace. Sustainable peace is about prevention. So now, that's why we are so grateful, because with the support we are having from Will Sweden, from our sisters organization, we are making a kind of sensitization to change the mindset. Cameroon, let me put it in quotes, is a peaceful country, but Nigeria is having serious conflict, and we are neighbors. Central African is very challenged. They have serious conflict, and we are neighbors. Chad has conflict, and then, so we are surrounded by war-torn countries. I would like to ask a question. If your neighbor's house is on fire, do you think you are safe? I don't think you are safe. So it's better to really work for peace without waiting for conflict to start. So that's why our work in Cameroon, our work everywhere we go, my work now here in Sweden is to let you know that each time we are talking about peace, please, let not allow conflict to start. It's about how do we prevent conflict. So that's what happened in Nigeria a few years back. They were always say that, no, Nigeria is a peaceful country. There's no need supporting Nigeria. There's no need supporting women from Nigeria to involve in peace-building processes. But finally, Nigeria is in serious conflict. That's the same thing with Cameroon. And now, I'm telling you that we have huge numbers of refugees in Cameroon, a country considered to be very peaceful. We have refugees from Central African Republic. We have refugees from Chad. We have refugees from Nigeria. And we have never experienced this. For the past 6 months, we are having suicide bombers attacks. And the horrible things about that is that these are made by little girls between 15 and 15 years old. So they rather get killed. You see? So that's why with Cameroon, our niche, what do? We do like sensitization to really change the mindset. We also do peace education. And when we are doing peace education, we target 2 main categories, especially the youth, because we think that we need to invest in youth if we need to build sustainable peace. We also target women, especially at grassroots level, because we feel that in any setting, there is no possible development without peace. And there is no peace without women. So that's why we are working with these 2 groups of people. We are also, like Nigeria, working on non-violence, because we think that the weapons should not be the first solution. They should be the last. Can we try and tackle the root causes of conflict? I was so moved when our sister was reading her poem. She mentioned migrants. I felt so bad. Why are they dying in the water? Because they lack the basic necessities. They don't have access to healthcare. I'm taking the case of many African countries. When you are sick, you go to the hospital, sometimes you die, because if you don't have money, they are not going to look at you. If you just die on that. And the costs are very high, and many people do not afford to have them. We still have high number of people who do not go to school. There is poverty and all these things. That's why those people are leaving the country. So it's about tackling the root causes of conflict. What is really making all this? Sometimes even these suicide bombers, they are like, what am I doing on earth? I better die. So it's better. We are working on disarmament to show that it's important to target education, to target the root causes of conflict instead of dealing about weapons. Like, for example, maybe disarmament should be, it's a very key issue, because now in Cameroon, for example, we see that there is a high increase of gender-based violence since we started having refugees from Nigeria. So we are also working on advocacy. My sister mentioned 1325. It is this tool that enables the women to be more engaged in peace processes. You know that in everything, you need to have political will. If in Cameroon, the political leaders, the authorities do not facilitate our work, it's going to be very difficult. So you are advocating for them to have a national action plan to ensure that we have a holistic approach to peace issues in Cameroon. And maybe the last thing that I can mention about our work is now because of the security challenges that we have refugees from everywhere. We also have IDPs, Cameroonian who are IDPs in their own countries. They have to run away from dangerous places to safer places. Therefore, they need extra help. So one of the things that we do is we go to them, like solidarity visits, to be able to be in solidarity with them, to be able to listen to them, to be able to share the little we have with them. That's very important. And to be able to teach them small in terms of how do they live together. Because now this situation is creating another dynamic. There are some refugees who do not live in camps, are living in different houses, in communities, and now it's creating some tension. And even some IDPs in Cameroon, some communities, they complain. They say that now you have UN Women, we have all these institutions supporting the refugees. Meanwhile, they, Cameroonians, do not have access to basic necessities. So you are trying to work with them in order to promote social cohesion. I think I'll come back for more comments later. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sylvie. So I hope that everyone takes with them tonight the message from Sylvie and Wilp Cameroon that please do not act too late again. Yeah. This is when we have the chance to actually do something to prevent war and suffering in another country. Yeah. Annie, you are from a country and you work within a country that has suffered for a very long time from war and are now in a post-conflict state, but you still have a lot of trouble with violence, of course. I know that you always address the root causes of the violence and the war. And it would be great to hear you speak a little bit about the situation right now in your country and what do you see as the root causes that we have to address in the DR Congo right now?
Okay. Thank you. Hey.
Hey.
Every time I'm hearing hey, I don't know if hey means good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. In my language, we can say mbote. It means good evening. Thank you. I need to start by thanking with Sweden, who give us this opportunity to come here to see you and to talk a little bit about DRC. I'm the president of WILF DRC. We brought this vision of peace in 2007 when DRC was really in the crisis. As you know, we have a country, we are suffering a lot because of the natural resource. DRC is a harsh country with a lot of resources. We can find sometimes only in DRC. And from that, we can say the root causes of a conflict is internal and external. Internal because we have a bad governance. We have a lack of justice. And the women, they cannot have a word to say. Because every time we said the war starts in the head of a man, but the word stops in the heart of women. And one woman is not on the table of negotiation. The world cannot stop. Why are you still in the world until today? More than 80 million of people died because of this war. On the other hand, the root of this conflict is external. Because many companies come in DRC and pull the mineral illegal. With that, permission. And women who walk around this, they call it square of mineral. They rape them. And when they rape them, often the man is holding a gun. We are surrounding with 9 countries, and all these borders are very porous, and we have a fear of the weapon. And when we see the study, Sweden is the 3rd country who brought the weapon in DRC. We come here to speak out. We come here because we need to redefine the gender equality. I heard you have a new policy here in Sweden. It is nice, talking about 3R: resource, representative, and the last one is rights. And when we met the Minister of Development, I said to her, please start by resource. Don't start by rights. Because when you have resource, you have a power. You can have the dignity. But when we start with right, you cannot have the power. Because women in DRC, they don't have a right. We are working on disarmament. Because disarmament is a really key for gender equality, for gender perspective gender. We work also on peace. We are leading the thematic of peace in DRC. Because if you have no peace, you cannot develop. DRC is a rich country because of the natural mineral, but we are so poor. Sometimes the family cannot have a bread, even the bread to eat. And why you need to suffer a lot, we didn't ask to the God to be born in DRC. We are saying, come and take the mineral, but in the good way, like we did in South Africa with a diamond, they call it the law of Kimberley. They are going there to pull the diamond in South Africa, but in the God way. Why not in DRC? As you know, they start calling DRC capital of the rape. If you hear that, you can say every woman in DRC were raped. I'm not raped, but I'm caring about the women who were raped. You cannot imagine. Rape or sexual violence is everywhere when you are in the war. But in the case of DRC, they rape women and they destroy them. Because after the rape, they can put everything inside their vagina. The sand, the wood, the gun. We are having a health public problem. Nobody is caring about that. I know Dr. Mukwege come a lot of time here to show you the picture. They rape also the baby with 2 months. Can you imagine that? 2-month baby. Become like we are in the jungle. But we need your help. We can do the connection between women in Sweden and women in DRC. We are all connected, as Joy and Sylvie said. We are all connected. We can think together what kind of strategy we can make to stop the war. What kind of lobbying you can make to your government about the weapon. We don't need the weapon. We need the peace. Because with that peace, you cannot develop. With that peace, you cannot even eat. Every time when they call you somewhere, they put the food. And we are thinking, in my country, how many people have a food today? How many people, they are in security? Because security become a problem every day. We become a refugees. The refugees is coming here. But in my country, you are refugees in your own country. Because of lack of peace. I need you to join the big movement of peace. For me, peace is like a weight. This is peace. Now, when you hold the peace, peace is in your hand. Sometimes did you know that? You have peace in your hand. Use it. Do not lose it. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. And can I remind you to please take the opportunity to find one of those little pink hearts that we've put out and write your message or draw something or whatever kind of message you want to send to the very brave women's rights activists who are working in the DRC together with Annie and together with our colleagues in Nigeria and Cameroon as well, and show them your support and let them know that you are thinking about them and that you support their fight every day. And I think that we should also really, maybe especially today, take with us the message that you are bringing forward about resources, because we heard today the very worrying news that Sweden might cut its development budget in half. And I think cutting in half the kind of money that would enable amazing women like Annie and Sylvie and Joy to do the work that you are doing is just about the stupidest thing you can do right now. So please raise your voice against that as well. Thank you all. In WILP, we do address the root causes as you have today, and we do speak the truth about what war does to people, but we also, of course, try to see the possibilities that feminism, that gender equality, and that disarmament can bring. So I wanted to end this talk by lifting up some of the successes that we have had. And I want to start with you, Joy. A few months ago, Joy was given a prestigious award in Nigeria for your work around the elections to prevent violence. I think we should start by giving a big applause to that amazing work. And this is also something that I know that you will carry out in Cameroon and in the DR Kongo as well. It's called the Women's Situation Room, and it's a special project. Joy, do you want to tell us a little bit more about it and how you succeeded?
Thank you very much. I'll start by talking about it as a resource. My sister Annie talked about natural resources. And women are resources. And in the Women's Situation Room, we recognize the fact that women are invaluable resources to the community. So what the Women's Situation Room basically is all about is to engage women in the peace and stability processes of the country. In Nigeria, we had the Women's Situation Room that mobilized women and youths, mobilized diverse actors, and we also served as mediators during the electoral process. We trained over 300 women to be electoral observers, and towards elections, we sent out 300 all-female team election observers. And this is the very first time it's happening in the history of Nigeria. So we had, for the very first time, all-women team going out to the field, and not just to any field, but to very hot flash states. States that were seen to be very violent, to be conflict-prone, and then women went out. This is all concretely implemented 1325. We say that we are not just vulnerable victims. We have skills, we are resources. Our skills can be used, and we can use our skills. So we mobilize actively together to ensure that we mediate between the various stakeholders, the political parties, the umpire of the election, which is the Independent National Electoral Commission, even women that were afraid to come out because everyone was fearing that this would be the great defining moment for Nigeria, that the election would make Nigeria to disintegrate. But the women of Nigeria stood up, they spoke with one voice, very loud, resoundingly very clear, saying, not on our watch, this wouldn't happen. And that is what the Women's Situation Room is all about. Women concretely networking together, using their skills as peace builders to ensure that the country is not going into conflict, that we prevent conflicts. My sister Sylvie talked about conflict prevention. It is easier to prevent conflict than to resolve conflict. And that is the message I will also leave with all of us here today. Peace is in our hands, like my sister Annie said. Let us all try to make sure that we contribute to our own quota in preventing conflict. Even if it's raising your voice out to say, no, we don't want this. Because we know that our sisters back home in Africa will be impacted negatively by the arms that are exported to the countries in Africa. We have the Arms Trade Treaty that looks critically at the exportation of arms to countries that are in conflict, or to countries where these arms will be used to cause human rights violations. And in Women's Situation Room, we're able to do what we did because women came together, mobilized together, and worked together. And so we're also asking that in doing our own bit, we're also asking that you help us in doing our own bit as well. We don't want to be pitied. We know what we want to do, but we're asking that you stand with us in collaboration. As partners, that is what we're asking. We want to be equal partners. When we talk about women and men, gender relations, it's not just between women and men, but also even amongst women, because women are not a homogeneous group. We tend to be divided by our diversity. But I just want us to know today that even in our diversity, we're strong. And that is the strength we bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. Sylvie, I know that Wilf in Cameroon is doing some very important preventive work through peace education, and that you are also engaging with young boys. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the kind of norms that are developing around masculinity and boys, and how you work to prevent violent norms and norms that are associated with weapons?
Thank you very much. I would first of all like to acknowledge the presence of all the men in this room, because it's not about women standing against men, it's about women and men being agents of change. As I mentioned in my earlier speech, I said it's important we engage in youth, because we feel that if you want to build something sustainable, you have to engage youth. We are like now, what do? We do like peace education in school. During 11th of February is Youth Day in Cameroon. That's one of the days that we use to go around at school to talk to students about the importance of peace issues. How can they engage in peace issues? And of course, we target men, young boys as well. And we ensure that they have like small peace club where they engage with girls in order to have some initiative at school level to build peace. We are also working on this campaign because we know in Cameroon, young boys especially, they are used to toy. This during Christmas, most of the time they receive as present these gun toys. But we have come to know that it's like increasing violence in the country. So we are using young boys as a kind of advocate for that, in order for this type of gun to stop being exported and sold in Cameroon. One of the things that we are also doing is, as we are advocating in terms of how do we have a national action plan, we are advocating for our action plan to put the young boy, to put the men issue as a key issue, because it's not about women alone, it's about men and women standing together. So that's some of the things we do in Cameroon. And as Joy rightly put it, it's very important for us to stand together, to raise our voices together, to know that each and every one of us, we can make change. As I always like to quote Gandhi, if you try to build a change, you want to see is this world, we are going to build sustainable peace. I thank you.
Annie, I know that you've had success. I mean, you were talking about the lack of women in the process, in the peace process in DR Kongo, which is of course a fact. But I also know that you have had some amazing success with promoting a national action plan on women, peace and security, and really being a very central figure who gets the opportunity to actually affect the politics. Do you want to let us know a little bit about how you work, how it's possible to do what you do, and what you think are the key issues right now for success in that term?
Thank you, Sofia. In DRC, we are leading the thematic of peace because we are a big organization. Since 100 we are going to celebrate today of peace. And we are trying to put on the grassroots the 1325 resolution to have a gender perspective. One, the community do their own local plan, and they can use the resolution 1325 and 1820 who ask about sexual violence. And also the government nominate a woman to care about all women that are victims of sexual violence. Now we can see the rate of sexual violence is decreasing. And also the army, they signed a big declaration to say they are them who are going to report the case of sexual violence. This is really good. And I can say that also your ambassador in DRC, Mrs. Anika, she's doing a great job because we are putting men and women together. We call it masculinity, to see why women cannot be in the political participation. And she's going around the school asking the question to the youth, the boy, and they are giving the answer like, yes, we are the chief, yes, because I'm a boy. We have a patriarchal. In my house, my mom say, you don't do that because we are a boy. We are trying to change this mentality with the help of your ambassador. I think you can applaud there. Now with a national action plan, we have 10 thematic inside. And for the peace and security, we are trying to see the indicator of the women participation, sexual violence, the empowerment of women, how we can help them to be empowered, how we can help them to start talking about political issues. And we are going to follow the example of Nigeria for the situation whom perhaps they will help us in DRC. We are in the field now because we are having the election next year. And we don't know if we can have this election. And I need also to ask you if you can do the advocacy to where your government to help DRC to respect the Constitution, because they need to change the Constitution. As you know, the president is there since 2001, near 14 years. And she needs to leave the place to another woman, not a man.
Thank you, Annie. Okay, we are going to wrap up. I want to give a big thank you to Annie, Sylvie, and Joy for coming here tonight. I know that you've had a very busy week with lots of meetings, and it feels so good to know that you have met a lot of people who take decisions, who have heard your voices this week, and you have all heard them today as well. And we really hope that you carry these voices with you and let other people know about what these activists have told us tonight about what they need. And if you want to help them concretely tonight, we have placed out little blue gift boxes with, once again, pink hearts. We like pink hearts on them, where you can donate some money to help Joy and Sylvie and Annie carry out their work and make sure that we do prevent war and not act too late. Please give a big round of applause for these women, and thank you so much for listening.
Is it on? Yeah. Thank you so much. We're here to celebrate, but it's also so important to tell everyone what we do every day around the world. So we're so grateful that you came and told your stories and the work that you do. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.